Now, I am very pleased to introduce our two student speakers, school co-presidents Megan Cui and Salvador Gómez-Colón.
To get my water ready because it's very, very hot out today. Dr. Kington, Ms. Falls, members of the Board of Trustees, esteemed faculty and campus adults, family members and friends, and my dear class of 2021. Good morning. It's such a pleasure and a privilege to be speaking with you all today as we celebrate the 243rd graduating class of Phillips Academy, Andover. I want to start by acknowledging that my being here would not be possible without so many people to whom I'm endlessly grateful. First of all, I'd like to extend my gratitude to my parents and family whose love and trust for me have been amazing sources of inspiration, resilience, and motivation. To the Chase Scholarship and the donors who made my time here possible, to Dr. Donald Slater and all the other campus adults who embody the best that Andover's community members have to offer, and to my dear friends who've been sources of endless strength and joy through thick and thin. Of these friends, I give a special shout out to Megan, with whom I am grateful to have shared the absolute pleasure and honor of serving as co-president of Andover. In gathering, each of us present, whether here in person or through a screen, bears witness to our common resilience. All of us know that this year has been far from easy. Despite the privileged position in which we are in today, a pandemic continues to disrupt the lives of millions. Calls for racial and social justice have made us inspect our complicity with systems of oppression, and democratic institutions around the globe are facing unprecedented threats. When I evoke the current state of our world, I don't mean to be pessimistic. Those of you who know me would be checking me for a fever right about now if you thought I was. I draw attention to this because it would be disrespectful to suggest, or at the very least imply, that this has been a year without pain, a year without frustration, and a year without sadness. On that same note, I also recognize that everyone's experience at Andover is different, and not all of us feel the same way about our time here. Yet I'd like to draw attention to one thing that all of us do have in common, and that is our presence here today. It'll likely be the last time that all of us, the entire class of 2021, will be together in one place at one time. Let that sink in. In the past few weeks, I found myself reflecting extensively about what all this means, our being here in one place this final time. And what I've concluded is that if all of us leave today's celebration feeling the same way we felt an hour ago about ourselves, about the world, or about the people in our lives, then there might not have been a meaning to this at all. In searching for my meaning for today's events, I first thought about the temporal aspect of our journey at Andover. Some of us may think it was fleeting. Others may think it dragged on for far too long. And a couple of us, myself included, think it was just the perfect length. But how long something feels or actually lasts is inconsequential if we lived those moments with intention. If we chose to spend our time where we wanted, how we wanted, and with the people we wanted. During my time at Andover, I've discovered that there is nothing more fulfilling than being proud of how we spend our time. So in approaching what lies ahead in our lives, these next chapters, I hope that all of us, irrespective of the paths we choose to take, choose to live with intention. And when I think about living with intention, which I know is much easier said than done, I'm visualizing it having 2 degrees. The first being the micro level, our day-to-day interactions, our daily choices. The other involves fitting our decisions into a broader lens, the lens of individual purpose. As someone who cares deeply about our natural environment and those who depend on it, a few weeks ago I found myself reading The Overstory by Richard Powers. Maybe a few of you have read it, I hope so. One of the elements that most inspired me about Powers' narrative is his portrayal of trees, independent and collaborative, strong yet flexible, noble but humble, a description that I believe fits our class fairly well. If you look at a forest from above ground, you can see the lengths of tree trunks standing individually. Each tree is taking its own vertical path closer and closer to the sun. Despite this fact, their roots, visible to the viewer's eyes, are strongly intertwined. Each tree forms part of a greater whole. In a similar manner, while all of us present here today may do different things, play different roles in our communities, and those of us graduating will go off in distinct paths, we should be cognizant that we always form part of a greater whole, and that all of us have the ability to improve the lives of those with whom we share community, whether that be at a place like Andover or the entire world. So whatever that path may be, we should go about with a sense of purpose, one that doesn't just serve ourselves individually, but that in some capacity also serves everyone else around us. Because our choosing how we affect our community is not one simply between improving the lives of others or ignoring them. Sometimes trees get sick, and they cause harm to the entire forest. So because Andover equips us with both knowledge and goodness, we have to be deliberate about uniting the two, since goodness in purpose is not a given. At this point in our lives, I find it fitting to invoke some wisdom from the late Colombian author and Nobel laureate Gabriel García Márquez. He writes, "Es verdad que la gente deja de perseguir sus sueños porque envejecen. Envejecen porque dejan de perseguir sus sueños. It is not true that people stop pursuing their dreams because they grow old. They grow old because they stop pursuing their dreams." So as you leave today and look back at the meaning of these events, whatever you feel it may be for you, I hope that you see today as a moment you choose to be happy, a moment you choose to continue pursuing your dreams, doing so with intention and a selfless sense of purpose. And I hope for all of us that when we're old in body, we're still youthful in spirit, as we are today, and that we look back and see today as one of the roots that have supported and fostered our growth. Thank you.
Wow, it's hot. Please, everyone, stay hydrated. Good morning, Andover. Andover students, families, alumni, teachers, faculty, head of school, and trustees. Whether you're live streaming from near or far, or joining us here today on our beautiful campus, thank you for being a part of such a special and joyous moment of our lives. Please, if you can, make some noise for the terrific class of 2021. It's truly a wonderful sight to finally see everyone together. In times of turmoil, like those we recently face, it becomes clear how much there is to be grateful for. To members of our Public Safety, Office of Physical Plan, Sykes Wellness Center, and Pereski, thank you for being the powerhouse that has kept our community going forward. To our teachers, coaches, advisors, house counselors, dean, and college counselors, I am immensely grateful to you all for being the guiding lights in our lives. To our classmates, you are the familiar faces that will keep us all reminiscing about how Andover has been home. Thank you for growing up with me. I want to especially thank Sal for always having my back. You've been a light for me in the dark. And to our parents and families, thank you for your unconditional love and support throughout our lives. To my family, my dad Benjamin, my mom Margaret, and my sister Eden, class of 2019. Thank you for being my greatest motivation and inspiration, to be true, to be kind, and to be curious. 妈妈，谢谢你给予我所有的爱。While our time at Andover feels almost too protracted to unpack, there are moments we'll each never forget. I will always remember my first all-school meeting. Picture this. When the seniors entered the Cochran Chapel chanting, I was thrilled and overwhelmed by the commotion. And where everyone settled down to hear the 2018 co-presidents Easton and Sam speeches, I distinctly remember them calling on each class in order. And the craziest things happened. When 2021 echoed into the crowd, a weak freshman cheer was expected in response. But nope, not us. The class of 2021 roared. It felt like the ceiling of the chapel might just blow off, and my ears were ringing long after the ASM ended. The other classes raised their eyebrows at the freshmen, who were supposed to be a little bit more timid. Perhaps we were indeed a little overstimulated, a little too nervous, but our collective enthusiasm and energy was right there from the start. I knew then how special my time at Andover would be with you all, with this family. The moment foreshadowed the collective strength of the voices of the class of 2021. Since then, we've raised our voices in so many ways. While we'd had very unusual and even devastating variables thrown into the mix, our response to all the uncertainty, change, and loss has been a testament to our strong and empathetic spirit. Time after time, we never fail to bounce back. Throughout this pandemic, we've met more disappointment than ever before. But despite the isolating nature of the last 15 months, we've found ways to come together to celebrate each other's successes. Truthfully, we haven't been afraid to voice our appreciation and love for this family, for our home. And just as importantly, we've learned to use our voices to become proponents of change, to strongly advocate for the issues that impact our lives at Andover and beyond, and to get comfortable with confronting the distress, frustration, and pain of the harsher realities that pervade our society and world. I'm in awe of my many classmates and friends who have used their voices to generate positive change, to put intersectionality into everyday practice, and to uplift individual lives and communal well-being through restorative justice. We've grown into student leaders who are brave enough to hold others accountable for their actions and collectively grow and learn from our mistakes. Members of our class have spearheaded and propelled calls for tangible actions, responding to systemic racism and the widespread injustices that are perpetuated in our Andover community, our country, and our world. We've become amplifiers of our own and each other's voices, creating a magnificent harmony that transcends all of us sitting here today. It's time for us to close out this treasure chapter of our lives, a time where we continually witness each other grow and resiliently thrive. Indeed, we'll leave with a memory that is beautiful, warm, and familiar, and enter into a world that is filled with more instability and tension than ever. But we've grown to possess the ability to navigate uncertainties with grace, hope, and strength. As we look back on memories that are marred with certain losses and imperfection, we will hold on to the one thing that matters the most. We are better, truer, and more courageous version of ourselves because of everything we've been through together. This family is one that we'll return to at various points in our lifetimes. Our Andover anchor will hold us steady and guide us as we continue to find our ways into the future and to find our ways back to each other. So, as we walk out onto the Great Lawn later today, diploma in hand, cheering like we did at that first ASM, and all the places across this campus in between. Remember that your voice alone is strong enough, but together, we are a force to be reckoned with. So here's to our next boisterous beginning. Let our voices rise and echo into the future. Thank you.